and welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and today we have a car that appeals to two very different groups of people. Rappers and then farmers and, off-road sort of people. We are neither, but we still like this. It's the new Jeep Grand Cherokee.
That's right, it's the Grand Cherokee L. So it's got 7 seats, so enough for all your party. And it's the first time they've gone with 3 rows. Come, let's take a look at this. So this is the whole new Jeep Grand Cherokee, new design, new outlook, new underbody, new underpinnings and stuff like that. But what it does is also harps back to some of its heritage. So we'll get to the dimensions in a minute, but it's certainly taking on basically a Wagoneer approach in its looks. So looking at the front here, it does have the 7-slot grille, which you can see from there, but it's slightly angled, so there is more of a sort of an overhang for the nose. And well, basically the tech that's gone onto this truck is, or this Jeep is massive. And again, I'll get to that in a minute. But look at the actual size of it; it's huge. Just dimensionally, it's massive, but it all seems to be proportional. And also, this is now a 7-seater, so this is now 3 rows. So it is for the first time it's gone that way. And again, it really does take the whole group with you. In terms of lighting up the front here, LEDs across here, and also a nice new look at the front. There's cameras around here that does the LiDAR, the radar, all the proximity stuff, and also night vision, which is just amazing. I'll get to that again in a minute. But the rest of it, there's little cameras around here, sensors and all that sort of proportional stuff. But look at it, it's quite a substantial beast, and so proud to be wearing the Jeep badge. Okay, let's get these dimensions out of the way, because most of you won't be able to fit this in your garage. So it's 5.2 meters in length, 2 meters wide or just under, and 1.82 meters in height, with basically 10 inches of ground clearance and 24 inches of wading depth should you decide to take this anywhere near water. So this is a substantial beast, and much of it is obviously back here with this extended rear, which is where the extra 2 seats are. Matthew will show you those in a minute. And the other thing about this is just the tapering of the roof means that it just brings it down from there, and also this really strong shoulder line. So design wise, there's a lot going on with this. And the other thing is 21-inch feet. That's the first time that they've gone with feet of this size in all 4 corners, and really it rides nicely. Again, we'll get to that in a while. We've gone with the white premium color, so design wise this is an extra couple of grand, but very striking from there. And this contrasted black roof with some roof rails and a sunroof, or a panoramic sunroof in there. So like I said, there's a lot going on down the side here. Let's take a peek around the rear. I feel so dwarfed back here. It really is massive. Look at it. Anyway, roofline spoiler here with the camera here that you can actually squirt and clean, which is good. Rear wiper, which really doesn't clear half of this rear windscreen, that is blacked out from there. LED lights, the L badging to make sure you know it's the big 7-seater, and also the Summit. So basically this is the top of the line. There's also a Night Eagle, which is slightly below there, that doesn't have, well, it has a lot of bells and whistles, but not quite as many as this. The exhaust pipes are actually real, so they do they're hidden back here, but they're there. And also a kicker tailgate that opens up to, actually when you drop all the seats, almost 2,400 litres of just space to throw stuff in, kids, products, whatever you want, all in there. Massive. And also can be done electronically, so you can raise and lower them using this. Awesome. So under the bonnet here is a 3.6 litre Pentastar V6 that when attached to its 8-speed box gives you 210 kilowatts of power and 344 newton meters of torque. In terms of fuel economy, it's around about 10.6 litres per 100 kilometres, so it doesn't exactly go for the clean car or New Zealand's clean car discount, but realistically this is a car that you can really get dirty with wherever you want to go. Actually, and take the whole family with you. Speaking of getting dirty, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on in there.
I'm not sure what Dave's on about being dirty. this interior is probably as clean as it'll ever be, to be honest. And let's just take a look around at the materials here, because this is really premium level stuff. So starting off with the seats, they're completely covered in Palermo leather. This one is in black with like a bronzish sort of dark gold, if you like, highlighted stitching. It's got perforations on it. It's got quilted leather, and it is heated, ventilated, and massage seats for the front driver and passenger. And that's, all of my breath just spent talking about the seats. Can you imagine what the rest of this car is like? Looking at the dashboard, so again covered in that same leather, the black and the darkish brown bronze color stitching. So nice and soft on the top, got some leather there as well. And this wood is real, it's waxed walnut, and it feels really nice, that open pore finish. You don't get any splinters or anything. It is really nicely done in here and gives a solid premium feel to the cabin. Speaking of solid, I know that build quality has not exactly been Jeep's strength in the past, but if you look at this car, I mean, I shake stuff and push things and nothing really budges. We've been on a pretty rough road as well this morning, and no squeaks, no rattles, nothing. So very impressive so far. Now, before I go into this touchscreen, which I'll do in just a minute, I'll talk about the rest of the center console first. So at the top, you've got all these buttons, which are like your safety and assist systems. So there's the automatic start-stop, the lane departure warning, traction control, hazards, parking sensors, and the self-parking as well up there. Oof. Down the middle here, you've got a nice little concealed storage space here for your phone. There's a wireless charger in there as well, and plus 4 different USB chargers. So that's 2 USB-A and 2 USB-C, plus a 12-volt socket and an auxiliary port. So it's literally covered everything you could ever need in terms of device connectivity and charging. Down the middle here, it's got a nice clean layout in the middle with the gear selector, so PRND obviously. And then on the right side, you have the adjustment button for the air suspension. On the left side, you have the adjustment lever for the different driving modes. So you've got rock, sand, mud, snow, automatic, and then sport, of course. It's also got the hill descent control over here, plus a shortcut for what looks like the compass. Everything firstly is covered in piano black plastic, which is why you can see it's attracting some of my fingerprints and the dust, but it does look nice when it's cleaned. The other thing is it's got a really cool slot there for the key, which you can just slide in and it fixes right in place. And again, you can conceal these cup holders just like that. The central armrest here is leather again, and it's also heated if you do turn on your heated seats and air conditioning. Then if I pop it open, it's got space for your phone, and then a second level, which is actually big enough to hold a 20-meter long internet cable. So how about that? In terms of storage spaces, they have thought about it being a family SUV, so it's got a big glove box there. It's got plenty of space in the sides there, and enough room to hold decent sized drink bottles as well. Really got everything covered as far as that's concerned. Now, before I talk about the other rows of seating, let me just look at the technology up front. So let's take a look at that infotainment screen. Now, the infotainment screen is sort of included into the dashboard in terms of styling. It doesn't look like it's sticking out. Nicely integrated piano black highlights, and then the layout as well. You've got this black screen with the all the buttons and icons, which are all in sort of a goldish bronze color, very much like a certain British manufacturer that it's competing against. I wonder who that could be. Anyway, the big highlight is that this screen is Jeep's Uconnect 5 system, so it's the latest in technology, and it controls a 19-speaker, 950-watt powered Macintosh audio system, which sounds really good actually. This is the home screen here, and you can customize this to show what you prefer to see. So we've got the audio input there, we've got the tilt and sort of angles there, and then also the climate control shortcut there. There is plenty going on. So if I look at the top there, I can see the seat heater and the seat options for the passenger. So it is reversed for left-hand drive cars. So that's why you'll notice the driver's one is actually on the left-hand side there, even though the drivers sit on the right side in New Zealand. So you've got the seat heater option there, the steering heater option, and then it'll show up if you're using massage seats as well up there. The other thing is, if you keep flicking through the menu, so you've got your media there, all the different sources, the comfort, this looks at the air conditioning. There's a little bit of lag, as you can see, but all in all, it's a lot better than the previous generation. The real highlight here though is these two buttons right here. So if I click into vehicle, well, that shows me the mirror dimmer for this electronic rear view mirror up there. The third row headrest, I can fold those down as well. The camera, rear view mirror, forward facing camera, and then this really cool feature, which is the fam cam. Now if I click on that, it shows me a view of all of the passengers behind me, so I can actually click and highlight as well. As you can see, certain seats in particular, if there are particular children or pets that I'm concerned about. But that's a really cool feature there for making sure that, or rather just checking if your kids are asleep on a family road trip. You can use that audio system to wake them up. The other cool thing in the vehicle setting is if you click on the forward facing camera, you can actually press that button to clean the camera, and it just sort of squirts a bit of water onto it, as I'll show you now. Back into this main screen, and the next part is the apps button. So you click into that, and firstly you have shortcuts for all the different categories on the left side, and then over here it's got a layout of everything that this car offers. So you've got the aux cable input there, DAB radio, Bluetooth, device manager, radio, and then if I scroll down, the other different audio options. If I click into all there, it shows me everything that the car offers. So you can choose your ambient lighting, you can choose the different audio settings. The other really cool thing over here is if I scroll down to the Macintosh system, which if I can find it, there we go, it actually shows you the output level for either sides, like an old school amplifier. I really like that actually. The other really neat thing here is the off-road pages. So if I click into that, it shows me the suspension heights. I can view the pitch and roll. I can view the type of terrain mode it's on. Can look out the forward-facing camera. It's sort of got everything here, honestly. It's even telling me the altitude and my bearings in terms of latitude and longitude. So it really is still a sophisticated off-road vehicle, and they've really taken that technology up to the next level. And there is still plenty of other stuff that I have not gone through, but just look at that. It's just a tech fest in front over there. Speaking of tech, there's quite a bit going on in front of the driver too. So let's take a look at the screen there. In front of the driver here is the second 10-point-something inch screen in this car, and right now I've got it in the traditional analog sort of mode. So you can see the rev count on the left, the speed on the right, and I've got my fuel gauge and my temperature gauge. It is completely digital, which also means it's customizable. So if I press the button on the left side of the steering wheel, I can actually see or sort of change the different modes that are available in the middle. So right now I've got tire pressures, but I can look at the trip, at the map, the suspension settings, the audio messages, and sort of there is so much more. And another cool thing is if you press this sort of futuristic button on the steering wheel, it goes into this mode, which is really really futuristic, and will certainly appeal to the tech nerd. So I can flick through and see the different shortcuts there available to see in front of the driver. Press it again and I go back to the standard view over there. So there is plenty going on in this screen in front as well. The other cool thing about this screen is that if I press this right side button there, I can see the night vision mode, and at night it will show you the different heat emitting objects around you, so the people, the animals, etc., and it will pick them out for you to a really good extent, as Dave will show you when he takes it for a drive at night.
There you go. No, it must have picked up those shortly.
This really large steering wheel also has those walnut inserts there, which is quite nice, and it's both electronically adjustable for reach and rake. So there's a little knob over there where I can move the steering wheel around. Now the central rear view mirror, well, that's got a nice party trick, as you can see there. It's actually showing me the view of the camera that Dave showed you underneath the spoiler, and if I just flick that switch, it resumes to a traditional mirror. So I can see Dave in the camera there now, and if I flick it again, there we go. That's the view all the way out the back. A quick look at the middle row here, and as you can see, it is built for people larger than me, of course. Like if I sit there, look at the knee room there. This seat is as far back as it can go, and I've still got plenty of foot room, plenty of knee room, plenty of headroom, even with that sunroof. And look at this, I'm not even taking up the whole seat here, so you could possibly fit 4 people across the back here, in countries where that's legal, of course. I'm not sure where, but maybe somewhere. The other thing is this center console here, so you've got air conditioning, seat heating and ventilated seats for both the passengers on this side. You've also got 4 USB chargers down there, again 2 C's, 2 A's, and you've got actually a 3-pointed socket in there. How cool is that? Now, access to the third row of seats is really easy. There's just a big lever on the top there, and you pull that and you can actually get the whole seat to just move up and slide forward just like that. So even an adult like me can get in with no problem. All right, I'll see you on the inside. Now, I'm in the third row of seats. My knees are up against the seat in front of me, but it's not uncomfortable, to be honest. I've got foot room back here. I've got headroom even when I lean right back. There's air conditioning for me. There's USB chargers on each side, 2 on each side, in fact, and a cup holder that's soft that can store your phone as well. You can easily fit 2 adults in the back here. No problem at all. Speaking of problems, this is a slightly rough off-roadish road, and this Jeep has had no problems with it so far. But let's take it for a drive anyway.
Okay, so finally there's a Jeep that the whole family and the extended family can come and play with. I mean, 7 seats that are so spacious, and just a Jeep that's just so luxurious. It is the best of all worlds, really.
Absolutely right. I mean, we're going through a gravelly, rough road over here, which is used by a lot of big trucks too, so it is really worn through, and there's no jittering of our voices, no cabin rattles, no panels squeaking, nothing. And we're sitting here in our Palermo leather seats with our wooden interior, and there couldn't be much more luxury on offer here.
Absolutely agree. It's almost too pleasant for this sort of thing. I mean, this is a forestry road, complete with all the divots and stuff that goes on, and it's like we're in, well, actually just on our normal Auckland roads, because they're actually got more potholes than this, and really,
I've got to say, I feel guilty. Like, there's no dust in here. The air conditioning system is good. We've not been inconvenienced at all, even though we're out in the wilderness here.
Brilliant. We are actually heading towards civilization, and that's really what this is about. This is such a civilized Jeep. It's luxurious. It really is competing against the big Euro marques that have got 7 seats that boast luxury, and this is just so luxurious. And yet, with its Quadra-Track 2 system and its Quadra lift and everything else that's Quadra, this really, I'm sure it'll go anywhere across all these bumps and jumps and stuff like that that's out there. So it ticks all those boxes.
Something that's not Quadra is the engine, because that's of course the Pentastar 3.6 V6, and you would be wondering, what's a petrol V6 doing in a car of this size and dimension? And you'd be sort of right. It does struggle a little bit to get this off the mark, this big mass, and it does require a little bit of a poke of the accelerator. But once you are moving, it's got the power to keep you accelerating up the hills, climbing up, doing all the off-road stuff. It just needs a little bit of a push to do so.
Yeah, agreed. But it's also, I mean, how often can you go off-road and push some massage seats and just relax, and also spy on the kids in the rear and see what's going on there? I mean, talk about having eyes in the back of your head. This thing has eyes everywhere that you can see.
That is really true, because there's a number of different cameras, not just for the 2 rows behind us, but for reversing, for the rear view mirror, for the front as well. And a lot of those cameras can be clean too, which, you know, is just amazing.
And night vision. Honestly, my son, we went out the other night and we started driving around at night. Don't get me, I don't know why we were doing that, but anyway, it just puts these squares around people, and where we couldn't see people because they were wearing black at night, but the cameras picked them up, and it didn't. It was unfaulting. We couldn't pick it out. It was the people that were at fault rather than the cameras. It was amazing.
And to be honest, I think I'd agree with Dave here. It's pretty hard to fault this Jeep, honestly, because it's covered things that the previous generation model lacked in terms of the, you know, build quality, the screen being slow, I guess the technology to some extent felt a bit outdated by the end of the cycle. But now with this car, it's just taken a huge leap forward, and yeah, I don't know what's missing, to be honest.
And the cabin, well, I agree, and the cabin is so quiet. You know, we're now on, you know, civilization or, you know, tarmac roads, and it's quiet, it's silent. There is a bit of a rev when you put the V6 down, so there's a nice note if you want it to be there, but on the whole, it's just a nice luxurious 7-seater.
True, and the air suspension actually is not too wallowy. We've got it set to the second level of height here, and it's okay in terms of body roll going around the corners, and the fact that, you know, these seats don't have much bolstering on them. But again, this is not a track or a sort of sports car. It's a proper luxury off-roader, so it's not meant to have any sporting credentials, if you like, but it doesn't do too badly in that respect.
And visibility is good. The A-pillars are sort of angled, so you can see through. They're wedge shaped. The rear view camera in the mirror is awesome. So if I've got my kids or whatever, or kid, I've got kids. If I've got my kid in there and he's jumping around or something, then he won't get in the way. You can just see right past him.
The other thing I've got to remark in terms of visibility is that third row of seats. You've actually got some massive windows along the side. So for someone like me who does tend to get car sick, you know, with all that visibility and that light, it's unlikely that I will, even back there.
Yeah, you only got car sick around me. It's bizarre. Anyway, but you're right. It's not a wallowy drive. It's a nice. It's not ultra firm, but it's nice. It's comfortable, and it's an upmarket Jeep. Who knew that Jeep would go this far upmarket?
I've got to say one thing though. This is, you know, an extremely safe car in terms of the technologies and the airbags and all that stuff. But there we go.
Cool.
Just as I was saying, the safety systems can be a little bit annoying when you veer out of your lane. The lane departure warning system just puts through a really ear-ringing beep, which makes you want to turn it off.
Yeah, and I think just as we did with the Compass, it's a double click up the top, but it is pretty much the first thing I reach for to get rid of that, because particularly if you're going onto wide open lanes, this is a big unit, and to have some, you know, you are going to venture over some of the white lines at times, and it is annoying.
I will touch on that Macintosh audio system. So it has got 19 speakers, and it's a gimmick, but what really I found cool is that the Macintosh logo lights up on all of the speakers. How about that?
Yeah, that's quite cool. And the sound system itself, it is good. You go up to 38. It's not quite ear bleeding, but it's damn good.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say in the drive thing is that it is a little bit jittery, a little bit stuttery when you're into sport and just trying to put your foot down. It's either too responsive or it is just a little bit jittery, whichever. But on the whole, nice drive. So there you have it, the new Generation 5 Grand Cherokee L. So Alpha Luxury, Alpha Limousine sort of shape, and Alpha length. So 5.2 meters in length is not going to fit in everyone's garage, but it really should. It's so luxurious and yet still so Jeepy.
I've got to say, we don't see this very often, that a 7-seater car, a 3-row car can fit an adult in all three sides of it. So just amazing, honestly, from that perspective.
and so much fun to drive. And so, like I said, it really will give the Europeans a big run for their money. Just how comfortable and relaxed I am. I'm going to put on some, I think I'll go rock climbing on my massage now. Massage or rock climbing or waterfall. Oh, such a first world problem. See you next time.